Part of the reason for that is weapons confusion, right?
Yes.
And that was known in the field and has been known for a number of years. True?
I guess.
Well, you were trained on it, right?
We talked about it.
It was part of your PowerPoints, correct?
Yes.
You were made aware during PowerPoint after PowerPoint after PowerPoint that drawing and firing the wrong weapon can happen, right?
We were told it wasn't something that they expounded on.
You were told that.
Yes.
And you signed documentation every year you were certified acknowledging that you knew the risks, received and reviewed the materials required for you to carry that taser, correct?
Yes, I signed the documents.
Okay.
Welcome back. Former Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer Kim Potter took the stand today in her own defense. During her direct testimony, she kept her composure for the most part. And then prosecutor Erin Eldridge had her chance to step up to the podium and cross the former cop. And that is when things got interesting.
After you shot Daunte Wright, you didn't behave like someone who had just saved Sergeant Johnson's life, did you?
I was very distraught. I just shot somebody. I've never done that.
Well, you never asked Sergeant Johnson if he was okay, right?
I don't remember the conversations.
You didn't check in on him at all, right?
I don't know.
Well, you saw the video when Sergeant Johnson fed you the line, "That guy was trying to take off with me." You didn't bite, right? You didn't respond to that at all, did you?
The video, I was crying. I was in shock.
And he was trying to make you feel better, wasn't he?
Foundation is.
The objection is sustained.
Well, he didn't remember saying it, right? You heard that testimony?
Yes.
And you don't remember him saying that, right?
No.
And you didn't say anything like, "Thank God I shot that guy and saved your life." You didn't say anything like that, right?
Object to that is argumentative.
The objection is overruled.
You didn't say that, right?
No.
And you didn't ask Sergeant Johnson anything except to call Chuck, right?
I don't remember what I asked him.
That would be on the video, right?
Yes.
You'd agree that as a police officer, you have the duty to render aid and communicate information to other officers, right?
Yes.
And it's part of your job to assist those who are hurt or injured, true?
Yes.
And to communicate to other officers what you know about a particular scene, right?
Yes.
Give them whatever information you can to help them do their jobs, to help render assistance, things like that, right?
Yes.
But you didn't do any of those things on April 11th, did you?
No.
You stopped doing your job completely. You didn't communicate what happened over the radio, right?
No.
You didn't make sure any officers knew what you had just done, right?
No.
You didn't run down the street and try to save Daunte Wright's life, did you?
No.
You didn't check on the other car that had been hit, did you?
No.
That all happened just down the road from you.
Yes.
You were focused on what you had done, because you had just killed somebody. Right?
I'm sorry it happened. I'm so sorry.
Oh, cross-examination. Let's bring back the think tank. Still with us, Bernarda Villalona, Ian Friedman, and Brian Watkins. Brian, that last clip, Bernarda might not think so, but that seemed legit, right? There was this emotion there.
It does, and I didn't know where the prosecution was going with that. I mean, clearly she's distraught because she just shot someone. Clearly the other officers on the scene were not injured and didn't need aid. That was obvious to her. And so I don't know what the prosecution was trying to get out of that. Like, is she supposed to go and radio in and render aid to fellow officers? We all saw what happened. No other officer got hurt. She just shot someone and she's immediately distraught. To me, that proves that it was an accident, that she freaked out, that she didn't react the way that she was supposed to, because she did something that she wasn't supposed to do, and she realized that. So for me, the cross-examination didn't really help the prosecution at all.
Yeah, that is one of those common sense things that a juror's going to, like Brian says, Bernarda, that of course with the way she reacted was the way she reacted, and to think that she's going to pull out of that and say, should we administer first aid to somebody? No, I mean, she was shocked. She was in this thing. But the state has done this a few times, like with this PowerPoint. You sat through hundreds of PowerPoints over your career, and you signed off on the manuals. Well, an average person is like, yeah, those are PowerPoints. This is real life, a big sort of gap there. Did the state sometimes accentuate the wrong things that, just to Brian's point, don't make sense?
So Ted, in regards to Brian's point, the tail end of it, I agree. Those last questions on cross-examination, they weren't called for. I think the prosecutor did a better job doing cross-examination when they first started off, before they needed to take a break. I think she was on a roll, because Kim Potter was completely different doing the first part of cross-examination than she was when she came back from the break. When she came back from the break, she came off as more genuine. However, I will say, Ted, this. My problem is, you're crying throughout your direct, you're crying during your cross-examination. Ma'am, this video has been played throughout the trial. And guess who wasn't crying throughout the trial each time it was played, where it showed you shooting and taking the life of Daunte Wright? Kim Potter wasn't crying. She's crying at the point when she's testifying, and I hope that the jury's able to see that. We understand it wasn't intentional. You're not charged with intentional homicide. You are not charged with murder. You are charged with manslaughter in the first degree, recklessness, and manslaughter in the second degree in terms of culpable negligence.
There was a strategy in this, one would think that it was prearranged, that during her testimony, Kim Potter referred to Daunte Wright as the driver, never said his name. Your thoughts on that strategy, and could it backfire? Because it was apparent to so many of our viewers that over the course of her testimony, it got to the point of like, oh, you're doing this on purpose. You're calling him the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So first, though, Ted, I don't know if it was a strategy. First off, we don't know what her lawyers said to do or not to do. One of the things, though, that I always like to take a step back and just, again, recognize this is a real life situation with a person on there who, did not, we all agree, did not get up that day, to hurt someone. Hadn't done so in 26 years on the job. How has this affected her? If I were to suggest to you that she can't say his name, this is a woman who's now suffering from post-traumatic or has other mental ailments as a result of what happened in all of this, and maybe that triggers, we don't know why she's not saying it. So I can't sit here and say it's a strategy, not a strategy. Maybe she can't say it because it's too upsetting, because you did hear a breakdown when she said, I killed someone. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to do that. And having to live with the fact that you did kill someone, who can pass judgment on someone if they themselves haven't been in that situation? And so it always bothers me when people jump to conclusions, like many people are saying, oh, she couldn't say it and this and that. Again, I always ask a trial, how is someone supposed to act in that situation? And that's what angers me about the prosecutor in this case, is they're sitting there with this script, like this is how you should be if you kill somebody. How does the prosecutor know that? Chances are, maybe she has been, but chances are she hasn't been in a similar situation where she's had to use deadly force in a split second where she may have perceived that others around her were in danger. So this whole script thing and what words is she supposed to use and how big should her tears be? Come on. Who knows?
Brian, to that point, looking forward to the close, if you're the state of Minnesota, they were aggressive, obviously today, and have been throughout the trial. Do you get up there on Monday and say she was lying, or she wasn't acting the right way, and maybe zero in on the Johnson testimony, which they did on cross, or is that too dicey to go to be too aggressive in terms of Potter on the stand today and her, her truthfulness?
Absolutely, they cannot go that hard, because what other narrative are they trying to portray here? that she lied and this is all a cover up for an intentional murder, that's not even what she's charged with. The problem with the prosecution's case is they have no case. There's no recklessness here. What act did she do where she knew it was harmful and dangerous to human life, but decided to do it anyway? There's not an act. Carry 2 weapons, that's departmental issue. I was one of the lawyers back in 1997 that fought to get non-lethal weapons as mandatory for police. So that's why police have bing bag guns and taser. So if you get tasered now, you can thank me that you're not shot and dead. In this situation, it was an accident. She pulled her taser. So what was her recklessness? What act did she do that she knew was dangerous and said, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway? It's not carrying 2 weapons. Clearly, she did not mean to pull the gun instead of the taser. So where is the recklessness? And I haven't seen that question answered. What is it that she did that she shouldn't have done? Clearly, pull the trigger on the gun. Yes, we all know that was an accident. But what are the actions? When we talk about manslaughter and recklessness, the greatest, easiest example is drunk driving. It was an accident. I didn't mean to crash into that person on the freeway and kill him. But the action that you took was getting behind the wheel drunk, knowing that it's dangerous and I could kill people, but I don't care. I'm going to still try to drive home anyway. There's where you have the manslaughter. Tell me what she did that she shouldn't have done, other than squeeze the trigger, of course.
Yeah, well, it'll be fascinating to see how aggressive they are in their clothes because, to your point, she's not the classic criminal that you can just go after or that, accused of something in a courtroom because it's going to turn people off. On the other hand, they've been doing it so far. We'll have to wait and see.